You're asking me to take this thing and go out there and fight?
Correct.
It's impossible for him to do it.
I thought you didn't want me!
Correct.
You disappoint me.
Thanks for watching my review of director Hideaki Anno's mecha anime psychological drama Neon Genesis Evangelion, produced by Gainax and originally broadcast on TV Tokyo from 1995 through 1996. However, before I get started with my review of this episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema, movie reviews and more. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit the bell so that you won't miss any new videos that I'll upload in the future. In the last year of the 20th century, a meteorite struck Antarctica and knocked Earth off of its axis, and as a result, weather patterns became unstable. Polar ice caps melted and sea levels rose. Economies all over the world collapsed, followed by ethnic conflicts and civil wars. And what came to be called all life, including human life, faced extinction. Now, in 2015, a 14-year-old boy in Tokyo 3 is adjusting to a new school and new people only 2 weeks after finding out that his estranged father, whom he has not seen in years, only sees him as a disposable pilot for Evangelion Unit 1. And Shinji Ikari has no friends. His caretaker, Masato Kutsuragi, bought him a cell phone. However, no one calls him. Truth is, he really wants to be with other people, but he is afraid of letting his guard down and opening himself up to other people and being hurt, as his father hurt him by abandoning him and as his mother hurt him by dying. This is the hedgehog's dilemma. For no one can understand why Shinji would even want to come back to pilot the Eva in the first place. He shouldn't have, especially after almost losing his life to the third angel, Sachiel. But Shinji knows that he is mankind's last hope because he is the only person who can sync with Eva Unit 1. 15 years have passed since the in the first angel attack. Now, Tokyo 3 has had to deal with 2 angel attacks within weeks of each other. First, Sachiel, and now Shamshel, the 4th angel. And once again, Shinji merges mind, body, and soul with Evangelion Unit 1 to face the new threat. But when his power cable is severed in the fierce battle, Shinji's only source of power is a backup battery, 5 minutes at minimum power or a minute at maximum power. Shinji has only one option: to run away. However, he chooses to stay and to fight. Neon Genesis Evangelion Episode 3, A Transfer. In this episode, we are introduced to more characters who will factor in later episodes, such as Shinji's classmate, Toji Suzuhara, and scientist Ritsuko Akagi, who oversees the technical branch of NERV headquarters, research and development of the Evas, maintenance of Tokyo 3's defenses, and the Magi supercomputers that run NERV. Ritsuko succeeds her mother, former head scientist Naoko Akagi, who created the Magi supercomputers prior to her death. As for the angel of this episode, it has a completely different look and metaphor about it. Whereas the body of the third angel, Sachiel, is anthropomorphic, the body of the fourth angel, Shamshel's body, is long, segmented, and insect-like. It looks like a crab, and in attack mode it stands upright to present multiple pairs of legs and a pair of glowing energy tentacles that burn to the touch. Up to this point in Neon Genesis Evangelion, no motive is given as to why angels are attacking Tokyo 3, only that they are doing so in succession. Also, in this episode, we get insights into the government and the way in which it controls media coverage of the Angel attacks. While television reports claim that there were no civilian deaths or injuries attributed to the battle between Ava Unit 1 and Sachiel, there had been civilian deaths and injuries, including Toji Suzuhara's little sister, who is now hospitalized as a result of injuries she suffered when Sachiel exploded near their home. As I pointed out earlier, the Ava is powered by electricity through an umbilical cable plugged into its back. If this umbilical is severed, the Ava unit switches to battery mode, 5 minutes at minimum power and 1 minute at maximum power. Now, let's take this procedure and compare it with two scriptures out of the Bible. First, in Mark chapter 11 verses 12 through 14, Jesus walks up to a fig tree and commands it to give him fruit. But because it is out of season and the tree has no fruit, Jesus condemns it to die. However, the tree continues to live and does not die until the following day. In fact, the source of the tree's power, its roots, does die when he condemns it before the tree itself dies. By metaphorical extension, the root of the fig tree is the umbilical cable and the fig tree is the Ava. And like the fig tree, the moment that the Ava is cut off from its source of life and power, it dies, even though it will still continue to function afterwards on backup batteries for a short amount of time before it dies. Let's also compare Evangelion's umbilical cable and backup system with God warning Adam and Eve not to eat the forbidden fruit. However, when they do eat the forbidden fruit in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 6, Adam and Eve, like the fig tree Jesus condemns to die in Mark chapter 11 verses 12 through 20. In my previous example, Adam and Eve do not die right away, but continue to live after God kicks them out of the garden or severs them from their power source, in the same sense that the Avas continue to function but eventually die when they are severed from their umbilical cables. And the fig tree continues living but eventually dies after it is severed from its roots. Also, in keeping with the metaphor of the Ava's umbilical cable, implying that it is an unborn child connected to its mother, the cockpit of the entry plug that is inserted into the brain stem of Ava Unit 1 is flooded with a breathable liquid called LCL that enables Shinji's nervous system to interface with the Ava's nervous system. Being that this breathable liquid and entry plug are analogous to the amniotic sac and fluid of an unborn human in the womb of its mother, suggests that Shinji and other Ava pilots are each in their own way attached to their mothers and unable to survive on their own without their mothers, as symbolized outwardly by the umbilical power cables plugged into their respective Avas. If you are new to the world of Neon Genesis Evangelion, I recommend that you watch the original 26 episode series before watching the movies Death and Rebirth and the End of Evangelion, which came out a few years after the series. And I definitely wouldn't think of starting with the new rebuild movies of Evangelion, as the plot and characters of Evangelion are so complicated. Plus, the series spends more time on character and plot development than the movies do. You could possibly start with Death and Rebirth, being that it is more of a recap of the series than a continuation of the series, but you definitely won't get Evangelion from watching the End of Evangelion and the new rebuild movies of Evangelion without seeing the series first. Even though the production values of the feature films in terms of animation and sound are much higher than the series, you will get more insights into the characters watching the series than you will get out of watching the movies, which are complementary to the series, rather than standalone features independent of the series. Once again, Thanks for watching my review of the third episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion: A Transfer, and be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema, and hit the bell for more reviews like this one. I will see you soon.